Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter, and I'm super proud of myself because I just made my first mesh wreath. I used some burlap mesh from Paper Mart to make this, and I made it using recycled materials. I didn't have to go buy an expensive wreath form. I made it from cardboard. And this beautiful ribbon and the burlap is a steal from Paper Mart. You can find them online at www.papermart.com. They're our sponsor today, and they have the best prices on the best supplies to make your own deco mesh wreath. So let's go downstairs to the craft room and I'm going to show you exactly how to make it. I have our supplies that we're going to need here. I just took the lid off of a pizza box. It was pretty clean. And then what I did was I took a piece of ribbon and a tack, and I took a ruler and made corner to corner lines because this is square. And then I found the center. And then I made a knot in the ribbon, put my pencil in, and used that as a compass to draw my two circles. So I'd end up with a ring that was about 3.5 inches wide. Doesn't have to be perfect. You can use a preformed, metal or grapevine wreath if you have one, but if you don't, use a piece of cardboard. I'm going to use burlap mesh, which is pretty thick and scrunchable and opaque once you got it all scrunched in there, so it doesn't really matter what I'm using for the form. I picked up a dozen, this is from the Dollar Tree. It was a dozen glitter ornaments that are going to be beautiful on this. And then I've got some other ribbons from Paper Mart that I'm going to be using to decorate it. I'll be using a roll of thinner gold lame ribbon, and I'm really excited to get started on this project. So the first thing you want to do is take a craft knife and cut out your box. And you're also going to need a hot glue gun in a minute. But first you want to safely cut this ring out. Cardboard cut's really easy too. If you wanted to use foam core, you could, but you would want to probably use like a hot knife. If you have like a wood burning kit, get a hot knife. It's just like a number 11 X-Acto knife blade that usually screws right into your wood burner that you can replace the blade. You have to replace that pretty frequently, but that works really great on foam core. And if you were using one of the lighter meshes, I recommend that. But look how easy that cut out. Not hard at all. I'm going to cut out the inner ring. I'm pressing pretty hard. You know, if you have some strength issues, you might need a helper. And my knife, you know, my husband would probably cringe if he saw the way I was holding this knife, but, you know, it's getting the job done, and it doesn't have to be perfect, because you're not going to see this. There we go. And then, just to be on the safe side, I am going to give this a little spritz of my ink. I have a video on how I made all these lovely inks. I'll put a link there for that, either under the video or right on the screen. And then I'm just going to wipe up the mess with a baby wipe. Alright, now I'm going to cut 12 15-inch strips of my ribbon, and I flipped it over so that I've got the back side here. Now, using your glue gun, you're going to make, oops, sorry about that, there go my balls went rolling. We're going to glue our ribbon. We're going to kind of center our ribbon on the ring, kind of like that, so it's centered on the side of the ring, and we want to space them equally around. So what I'm doing is kind of going like I'm on a clock, and I'm doing 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock, or think of it as a compass, something like that, so you'll end up with a nice even amount of ribbons. So let's, alright, boy, I've had my table so full. I'm getting ready for a craft fair this weekend, and I'm telling you, I have had so much stuff going on. It's like we got a jellyfish there. Isn't that cool? Alright, let's make sure these are, well, they're not quite cool yet. We gotta give it a minute. So we'll come back in a second when this glue is cooled, and we'll start adding the mesh. Flipping it over, you have this octopusy looking thing. It looks like a donut with strings coming off of it. It's really easy. It looks a little crazy right now. What you want to do is grab your the end of your burlap. You might even want to unroll it a bit. I don't have one of those fancy paper towel holder looking things that some people have, but that's alright. You don't really need that. And I'm folding over the raw edge, and I'm just going to hold it on my form, and I'm going to fold it long enough so that I could tie a ribbon around. Well, I got one of those ribbons on there. What I want to do is I want to take the ribbon from both ends and just secure it. So I want to make sure that I've got that end folded over enough that it's going to be caught under there, and it's not going to stick out. I don't want I don't want that raw edge to be sticking out. And I'm going to tighten a double knot. Now I'm going to make a single-sided wreath today, but if you wanted to make this double-sided, you could actually, you probably want to cut these about 2 feet long so that you can do exactly what I'm doing here to the front, but you would do it to the back too. So what I'm doing is I'm just gathering, and then I'm going to grab the next ribbon that we glued on there, and I'm going to tie that in a double knot. So by having 15 inches or 18, I think 18 inches of what is what I cut, I have enough to attach an ornament and tie a bow. But if I wanted to flip it over, and then like this would be the back, I'd flip it over and I'd do it to the other side to be the front, then I would attach the ornament on that longer ribbon, because you need some extra to kind of get around twice, you know what I mean? Hope that's making sense. Look at that, it's so easy. The mesh really does kind of want to curl under as you go, so that's kind of helpful. If not, you can kind of roll it into a tube first before you gather it. This is the first time I've ever tried to make one of these wreaths, actually, and as you can see, it's easy enough even for a beginner to make. I don't do many home decor projects for some reason. I don't know why. I always enjoy it when I do them, and it's always fun to see, you know, what you've made hung up. I'm trying to find the other side of that ribbon. Oops, you know what? I grabbed the wrong ribbon at the other one, so that's alright. I'll tie this one. Catch up that way. Doesn't really matter. See how easy it is? So this is going to be like a single-sided wreath that I might hang on a wall or a door. So what I'd probably end up doing to hide my pizza box at front is that I would just like cut a piece of felt or something like that just to cover the other side, or maybe just cut a piece of this burlap. It's really not difficult, just a little fiddly. And you can give it as many crinkles and you know, gathers as you want, or as little as you want. Those double knots keep it so that things don't untie on you as you're going around. Alright, we're getting up here to the top. Oh, we're doing pretty good, and I haven't even used up half a roll of this mesh. Plenty of supply from Paper Mart here. That's a nice thing about when you order a roll of ribbon, you order a roll of mesh from Paper Mart, you get a nice large quantity, so you know you're not going to run out mid-product, and you're probably going to pay the same amount as you would a smaller spool from another store, like your craft store. So it's a good idea to get it from them if you can. Alright, so I got my last tie here. So what I'm going to do is actually cut my material now, and I want to leave enough so that I can fold it under, because I don't want the raw edges. Because this cut edge here, this is when I started, I was working from the beginning of the bolt, so this cut edge may ravel, so I want to make sure that that I get that kind of tucked under, see, and fold it under there, and really just kind of stick that in, overlap a little bit. So when I tie this up, I'm going to have a nice solid wreath, and you're not really going to see where I started and ended. That's my hope anyway. There, I don't think we really needed to spray the color, and I think it looks pretty good. All right, so now we have a wreath like that, not too shabby, actually shabby chic kind of. All right, now we want to get our the ornaments we sent flying a little while ago. Remember those? And we're gonna tie them. Hopefully, I think this ribbon is thin enough that we can get the ornaments through there. Let me open this up. I didn't dare open it until I was ready to do my project, because the kids and pets, they would be all over the place. All right. Can you believe they were $1 for 12 of them? And they're plastic, but you know, it's kind of good because this is a super, super lightweight wreath. I've got a beautiful mirror over my mantle, and I think this would be so pretty to put there, to put on that. Oops, I will warn you about these dollar ornaments. The top just kind of popped off of that one. I think I'm going to reinforce that a little bit. Well, no, it seems to be staying now. Hot glue was awesome. So then I'm going to tie this into a little bitty bow. I probably could have used a little bit more ribbon there, but I think this will be cute. I'm just going to do a little bit of bow, little tiny bow here. Nothing fancy, not one of your fancy, you know, wired bows or anything, just a little one there to hook it on. Can always cut it later if I don't like it. And I'm going to go all the way around here, and I'm going to tie an ornament on each ribbon. Okay, I've tied all the balls on, and I decided to just V-notch the ends of the ribbon instead of doing a bow, because I really didn't have enough ribbon there to do a bow. Now I need to decide what I want for a ribbon to go around it. I've got this lovely glitter mesh ribbon This is called Apple Green Solid Laser Ribbon, which is really pretty, but I think it's just, this texture is too similar. I think I want something a little bit different. I have this pretty random mesh ribbon, which I don't know, I'm not loving that, but I actually like the tone-on-tone of this glitter ribbon. This is called Green Wired Faux Leather Ribbon, and I really like the way that looks. So I'm going to set these other two ribbons aside, and I'm going to start, and also I think that if I want to have a hanging loop, this will be strong enough. Of course, you can just use a wreath hanger and not even need it. So what I'm going to do is fold the end over, and I'm actually going to hot glue it to the back here. I was going to say top back, but I guess you could do it anywhere. It's pretty much symmetrical all the way around. So, and I'm not worried about the back because I can cover that up later. And then what I'm going to do is just kind of working from the spool, go around and kind of sculpt my wreath as I go. I can make it puff out in parts. I can bring it back in parts. I can just really, oh, my hot glue let go on the back. I can really kind of force it into submission if I need to. If I have any parts that are a little wonky looking, I can just make it behave with this nice ribbon here. Oh, I really like that. And take your time with this. I mean, it's kind of hard to see what I'm doing and hold the wreath so the camera can see it. So, you know, of course, you'd be looking right at your wreath while you're working on it. And that does make it a little bit easier. I'm kind of going in between the balls. I'm trying to decide whether that's too much ribbon or if I want to skip one. I might want to skip one. And those are the decisions you make kind of as you're going. If those two are, yeah, I think I want to skip one there. Just kind of want to keep it evenly spaced around. Whatever you decide to do, probably just repeat the pattern. Unless you find you have a big gap somewhere that you want to have a little extra ribbon. I think skipping one looks kind of good. I'll probably go and undo that and pull that around. So I'm going to continue wrapping this ribbon around until I get to where I started. At this stage of the wreath, we've gone all the way around, and I left some tails here because I thought that I might want to use that later. You may have some bits that kind of stick out if you're a beginner like I am. So what I'm going to do is actually hot glue those to the back. So flip over your wreath, look for any weird bits. And if you don't do this, of course you could reuse your wreath frame if you bought one, but here, seeing that I have a cardboard one that I made, I don't want to reuse it. I'm going to just leave everything on it. So you want to go around and hot glue any little parts that are sticking out to the back. Okay, I've got all those weird bits tucked in behind, and here I've got the wreath. Let me see if we can zoom out a little bit. Here I've got the wreath right here, and I decided this is going to be the bottom, and I want to put a bow there. So let me just set that out of the way. What I've done is I just took this ribbon, I made some loops a few times around. So I've got 3 loops on each side, and then what I'm going to do is take a piece of wire, which I already cut because I learned cutting the wire first is very helpful. And I'm going to join that together. And I do have a video on just making bows. So if you want to check that out, I will put a link under the video for you to find that. And then make the center of my bow there. I'm working right off the spool because I find I don't waste as much when I do that. Wire that bit around like that. Again, refer to that video if you want to know how to make the bows. It's so easy and quick. And since this is wire ribbon, I want to chop it with my dingy scissors and not my good scissors. And I'm going to find the little middle tab here from the other end. Just going to kind of fluff it up a little bit here. I might not even need the tails from this ribbon because I have tails hanging off from the ribbon that's on the bow already, but that's a pretty cute ribbon. And the wire's long enough that I can actually attach it to the wreath like this, and that's what I'm going to do. Hold it so you can see that really well. Just going to put that right there between those 2 balls on the front, and I'm going to wire it around on the back. Now the back's a big old mess, but I'm gonna cover that up, and I'll show you how to do that in just a minute. But for right now, we're just wiring that on. And then you can trim that other little bit that's going to be tucked away, so you don't have to worry about that. So there are tails, little tails for this bow if you want to use them. I'm just going to trim this one so it matches that tail. There we go. And then I've also got these longer tails hanging down. If I want to keep them, I'm not sure if I'm going to keep them or not. So what I'm going to do is make a decision on this, and then we're going to, I'm going to show you how I disguise the back of the wreath. To disguise the back of the wreath, what I'm doing is cutting strips that are about 5 or 6 inches wide here. Because that way we can have a little room to kind of tuck and fold and whatnot. And then you're going to use clothespins or some sort of clamp. You don't want anything too heavy duty, but you're going to use the clothespins to kind of hold the burlap down while it's drying, because you don't want to burn your fingers. So clip a clothespin there. And you want to keep it pretty flat so it doesn't pop out from the door when it's hung. Just tucking in the raw edge there. Put another clothespin there. Try not to burn yourself. Use a low temperature glue gun if you can, if it holds good enough for you, which, gosh, I would think it would. I'm using a hot temperature glue gun because I'm in my basement where it's not too warm, so in the winter I kind of need a hot temperature one for it to even get the glue to melt. So if you're working out in your garage, you might find that you're in the same boat and you need a higher temperature one, but you know, this is holy material. It's going to burn you if the glue will seep out through the edges. So clothespins make that a lot safer to handle. I had this little scrap here, so I'm just gonna use that to cover the front there. And I decided I didn't care for those tails, so I knotted it nice and tight. Knotted the front and end of those ribbons nice and tight. And I know I had glued it originally, but then I had to pull off that first round because I decided I wanted to go every other between every other decoration rather than between every decoration. I just thought they were too close together that way. I'll just move these over here. Just make sure you're covering up that cardboard and that pizza box logo. You know, if you're selling these at craft, it doesn't really matter if you're just hanging them up in your house, but if you're, you know, giving them as a gift or selling them as a craft fair, you probably want to cover up the fact that you just used a pizza box for it. Wreath forms can be expensive, so so it's nice to be able to do this way and save a little money. You know, fluff your bow when you get back to the right side again. Oops. Have that one go this way. You know, fiddle with it and make it just right. And let's take a look at that hanging up on my front door. Isn't that pretty? I want to thank our sponsors today, Paper Mart. You can find all the supplies I used there today. They carry deco mesh as well as a beautiful burlap mesh that we used in a huge variety of colors, as well as the ribbon I used. And you know, you could do these wreaths for anything. They don't have to be for Christmas. They can be for Easter. They can be for Memorial Day. They can be for Halloween. And be creative and look at all the different colors that are available and see what you can come up with. Use different color ornaments if you don't care for the ones that I used. Just have fun with it. I want to thank you so much for watching today, and until next time, happy crafting.